I'd like to make a brief presentation today, just to share a few activities. The first one will be modify Boggle, then we'll look at some student writing activities, and then some work by early to middle emergent tutoring, students who are being tutored, and then some activities with late emergent and early beginning. So this is modified Boggle. You'll see it in Chapter 5 of Words Their Way, although I use it mostly in Chapter 6. This is done by asking one partner to make the sheet at the bottom. You just draw a line, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you make a 3-letter word, then I'll write it here, a 4-letter word, etc. And the more letters you have, the greater your points. And each of us gets a turn with the sand clock. My only rule is that you can shake the can or the box twice and then lay them out in order, and then we start the sand clock. And I'll give my students more time than I will have. And that's what it looks like. We can do a little multiplication too. Let me come to a close-up. And so this student, I would predict, is in the letter name stage of spelling. As the secretary, I write down what the child spells to me as their word. I don't argue with the child because that we come to later. After the game is over, that round is over, we read the words, and then we disagree. If we disagree on any, then we throw them out. I mean, I wonder what this one is: bought, taught, and what word they thought they were making. This child, I bet you, is in the letter name stage of spelling. If the child were more familiar with long vowel words, she would have made them in the 4th column. A lot of fun, easy to do. These two children are working with Doug Cushman's Sarah Weeks's book called Ella, of Course. And what they've done is they are going to do support writing. These kids are pretty old, but they're in the letter name early within word pattern stage of spelling. So we'll look at their writing, and you can see that they've used these post-its for support. So there's Ella, of course. Ella, so you have a support at the beginning when the family dog got lost. Ella made a fine dog catcher, and then she found it. And that's great writing. That this 4th grader or 5th grader was willing to write that much is just what we want. And so you make these little post-its that say that place or name or a place, and then you use them, and that helps the children to write. In this case, to help to remember what was in the story. On Emma's birthday, Grammy sent a present. Inside it was a yo-yo. She took it over. And it became a mess. It broke everything, and she did not pay attention. She only paid attention on her yo-yo. So you can see we're getting a fair amount of writing. This is that early to middle intermediate group. The mentor is here on the right, and then we have the tutor and the 2 children. We see their word study notebook, their personal reader, the novel they're reading, and their word study. So this is a EL, LE, AL, and IL sort. And then they've done sort of a blind sort that I'll show you now. And so the teacher called out the word, and then they wrote it, and then they checked to see which one was right. This tells you about a lot about the students' learning. And they're reading Dragons of Del Toro, a level S book. This is a child writing his sort into his word study notebook, and you can see he's working on VCCV patterns. This is for our kids who are working on beginning consonants. So here's one child versus another child, and they're playing basketball. They think of a word and throw in the bucket. Here is a jumping game, hopscotch game, and you have to think of a word when you land on the letter. Here's a child's personal reading, and I'm not sure what they're doing with a chance of meatballs. This child, and you can see this child in the background here, is making some letters, SP words, or letters beginning consonants. These children are sorting by beginning consonants H, C, D, and F. They built up to it. Here the children are reading. They made some Play-Doh, and they're doing a word sort. Looks like they're playing something like Go Fish. And here's the little ditty, not the ditty, but the description of their making Play-Doh. Play-Doh fun. And this is like a group experience chart or individual dictation. It looks squishy. You can squeeze it. It smells like mint. It's fun to play with. Here the child is reading. And here's a nice activity for memory lane. Alrighty, well, thanks for visiting with me, and I know your tutoring's going really well, and I hope perhaps that this gave you some ideas.